Baseball is back, baby, and you know what that means. First Pitch here at Wager Talk TV is back as well. We're going to be getting into some future talk here with two of the best in the biz. I don't want to waste any of your time here, so I say we get right into it and welcome in Bryan Leonard. He's got an over that he's eyeing here. What do you got for the folks, Bryan?
I'm going to be a surprise to a lot of people. I'm going to take the Nationals over 66.5 here. A lot of people don't like the Nationals, but I handicap the full 40-man roster, and I think this is a bright future in the nation's capital. The Nationals look to have a solid team coming up in the next few years, and I think they could start it this year. Other than the Baltimore Orioles, the Nats have the most stacked Major League-ready players on the horizon. Brady House, James Wood, Dylan Cruz, Robert Hassel III are all just an injury away from big breakouts in the Major League level. This is an offensive club that had big breakouts as it was last year with C.J. Abrams, who had a really good year, came out of nowhere after struggling a little bit in his first couple of seasons, and Lane Thomas, another guy very similar to Adams, who can hit home runs and steal bases. And this is a Washington team that wants to steal bases. They stole a lot in the preseason this year, and I expect them to be really strong on the baselines this season. The problem for the Nationals has been their pitching staff. Josiah Gray and Mackenzie Gore are solid contributors, but they need more from the starting rotation. We like the moves in the bullpen as they brought in Derek Law and Matt Barnes, two guys who have been veterans that have been there for late inning placement over the years. Matt Barnes had a lot of saves for the Boston Red Sox a few years ago, so I like the veteran presence coming into the bullpen. And they already have Finnegan, Harvey, and Rainey that have been sharing basically the closing duties on this team. So we got a lot of guys who are very good in the back end of this pitching staff. So while Washington doesn't have known talent on this team, I do like their pitching, and I think they're going to be a little bit improved. They just need to get something else from some of their starting pitchers. And when you take a look at the division, the Mets and the Marlins look to be taking a step back this year, which gives us faith that the Nationals could surpass this total wins number. There's a more balanced schedule this season, which means less games against the Braves and Phillies, which are two of the three best teams in the National League. I like the schedule. I like this team in the future. They'll be better as the year goes on, but I like the Nationals over the 66.5.
All right, so from the Nats, let's stay here, talk some Orioles baseball. For some reason, Tokyo Brandon just thinks that this number is a bit too low. Tell us what we think about the O's, TB.
So if I were to tell you what team in the American League won 101 games last year and is booked for the over-under at 89.5, would you say the Baltimore Orioles? That is the team. The Baltimore Orioles, since last year, have added Corbin Burns, who's an absolute stud from the Milwaukee Brewers. He's only gone 4 years with a sub-1 whip and 150 innings average in those 4 years. He's going to be a huge mainstay for their rotation. They added Craig Kimbrell, who admittedly is on the downside of his career, but he's still fairly solid. Orioles have the 7th best lineup, the number 1 farm system, and they have a great rotation. So I have no idea why the books subtracted 11 wins from their last year win total, but I'm going with the Orioles over. One other side note is the division. Almost every team in the division has gotten weaker. The Red Sox pretty much have zero chance. The Rays, in my opinion, have gotten weaker. The Yankees have gotten a lot weaker, despite adding Juan Soto. I just think there's no reason to deduct 11 wins from the Baltimore Orioles this season. So over 89.5 is my over for the American League.
It's great always talking about these futures, but you know that means First Pitch is back on a daily basis, getting you those daily winners as well. So more reason than ever to hit that little subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell too so you don't miss any of the great videos that we're dropping across all sports. Don't worry, you can still get your basketball fix, you can get your hockey fix, but make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss any of it here at Wager Talk TV. And also make sure while you're hitting that like button, hop on over to wagertalk.com. Check out the great special that these guys have. You can get some half-priced baseball action. That's a little welcome into the season for you, the viewers and listeners here. Let's get right back to the info, though. Let's swing it on over to the Padres. We talked a little over action. How about some unders? Why are we eyeing the Padres under, Bryan?
The Padres are under 83.5, and Brandon and I did a little bit of a show just a week or two ago. We couldn't understand why they were 81 or better. I think this team's going to end up with a losing record. The Padres really underperformed last season after bringing in high-priced talent. The word is that the players had a hard time getting along behind closed doors, and so the player mix never really played up to their talent level. Now with some of those big egos gone, we get a much less talented team in San Diego. Sure, Fernando Tatis Jr. and Manny Machado remain, and we like Hee-Sung Kim and Luis Campusano, but the starting lineup still has Jerson Profar and Tyler Wade, which isn't something that I would recommend for any major league team. When you've got two guys that probably shouldn't even be on a major league roster that are in your starting lineup, that is a concern. And from a pitching standpoint, we really like Michael King, who came over in the Juan Soto deal from the Yankees, but he was a relief pitcher for most of the year, so his innings will be limited, so he'll only probably pitch in the 120 innings. That's going to hurt them as they need their starters to go about 160. Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove are solid, but injuries are starting to take a toll on them as they get a little bit older. Bringing in Dylan Cease would be a boost, but considering none of the contenders wanted anything to do with them, tells us we don't want anything to do with Dylan Cease. He'll still strike people out. He'll still walk too many people, and that is a concern for this team. Josh Hader, the dominant closer, moved on, so the bullpen depth just isn't the same here for the Padres. They do have the back of the bullpen I like a little bit, but when you lose Josh Hader, you're not going to be nearly as good in the bullpen. Add it all up, but we can't see the Padres with a winning record. The Giants are improved, and they made the big signing of Montgomery. The Dodgers could dominate not only this division, but the league. San Diego will have to take advantage of the Rockies, who are a bad team, to get anywhere near this number. So we're going to play under the 83.5 with the San Diego Padres.
So that's Bryan's thoughts there. Check him out, wt.buzz/BL. One more under before we talk some player props here, and we'll swing it on over to Tokyo. Brandon, you want to talk about a team in L.A. that doesn't have a gambling saga going on, though maybe they should have. Last year, you want to talk about the Angels. What are you thinking, TB?
They won 73 games last year. And what happened in the offseason? They lost Shohei Ohtani. And that pretty much sums it up. I mean, how many games did he pitch and win? How many home runs did he give them? He was arguably their most productive batter. He was the MLB MVP of the year. Won tons of games. They're going to lose all of Ohtani's wins. They're going to lose all of Ohtani's bat production. And the total is still sitting at 72.5, which is exactly the 73 games that they won last year with Ohtani. They did make a couple additions like Miguel Sano. Sano's cranked a couple home runs in spring, but you can't tell me that subtracting Ohtani and adding Miguel Sano is going to equal the same amount of wins. I don't see this team winning 73 games this year. So my bet is for the Angels under 72.5 games.
Tokyo Brandon has been rolling, and it's greatly in part thanks to KBO, Japanese baseball. You can get all of those plays over from Tokyo Brandon, 55% off. This special is ending on the 29th, so you want to check that out, wt.buzz/TB. He's got two plays here for opening day. You can grab them over at his page. Bryan, it's time to talk some player props here. And this one I'm interested in because anytime you're talking me into fading a Padres player, I'm interested. So tell me, what do you got for the folks here?
My favorite prop of the baseball season coming up is strikeouts. Last year, Spencer Strider led baseball in strikeouts with 281. That was 44 more than Kevin Gausman, and you're getting him at 3-1 to win it this year. I think we come up with a really good bet here on Strider. He added a curveball, and he's been using it in the preseason. That's been very effective. So he's going to be even better than he was last year. And when you take a look at the guys who last year finished right behind him, Kevin Gausman, he's having injury issues already. He's going to make all of his starts, but he hasn't been quite as strong. He went through some weak arm situation in the spring training. And some of the other guys, Garrett Cole, obviously he's hurt. He'll never pitch enough innings to make it last. Zach Gallen's a very good strikeout pitcher, but he pitched 210 innings last year. I don't think he'll pitch much more than that. Spencer Strider did that 281 strikeouts in only 186 and two-thirds innings. This is a guy, as long as he doesn't get hurt for a month or so, I think he's the guy that wins the strikeouts. And we get him at 3-1 for the favorite. And I like that number. I like Strider. I think he has a tremendous year. And he led the league last year, strikeouts and wins. And he's even better this season.
And that's one of the best. I know he's been chomping at the bit to get ready here for baseball season. So you definitely want to be checking out Bryan early and often. He'll be one of the recurring guests here on First Pitch. Hit the subscribe button and comment below and let us know some of your favorite player props heading into the year or some of your futures. We'll hop below in the comments and we'll track them throughout the year. We'll keep you as accountable as you're going to be keeping us here on First Pitch. All right, Brandon, shut it down for the folks. You want to talk a Dodgers player to win MVP, and it might not be the one people are thinking of. What are you eyeing?
So for my awards, individual awards, I'm going to go to the National League. When you look at National League MVP, there's really only two choices, and that's straight out of the gate. You've either got Acuna or you got someone on the Dodgers. There's pretty much no other candidate for NL MVP. So I looked through the Dodgers roster, and you've got three MVP candidates. You got Mookie Betts, you've got Shohei Ohtani, and you've got Freddie Freeman. Mookie Betts is hitting in the 1 spot, Ohtani in the 2 spot, and Freeman in the 3 spot. Ohtani's got some baggage now. He's wrapped up in a couple things that are taking his mind off. Actually, since this scandal is broken out, he's actually 0 at the plate. He hasn't had a hit yet. And granted, it's spring games and 1 regular season game, but I think this is going to weigh a little bit on him. I don't know if we're going to see all the production that we've seen from him before. Obviously, he's a natural-born hitter. He's a natural-born pitcher as well. But I just see his stats maybe fading a bit. So that leaves me with Freddie Freeman or Mookie Betts. Now, Mookie Betts is leadoff on probably the most powerful lineup I've seen since 1927 Bronx Bombers. So when you're the leadoff guy, that means you're going to score a ton of runs when you're batting in front of Ohtani and Freeman. I like Mookie Betts for MVP in the NL League for the number. It was plus 650. It's a decent chance to take a small flyer on him and get 6 times your money back. Mookie Betts probably is going to hit 23 home runs. He's probably going to have 100 RBIs, and he's probably going to score a lot of runs. So Mookie Betts, take a flyer on him, plus 650.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. A little futures edition of First Pitch here. We're excited to be with you the entire MLB season. It's daily. That's right, daily here at First Pitch. We're going to be having streams coming your way, and to make sure that you don't miss them, make sure you give us a little like so we can keep this content nice and free for you. And if you're looking for more great sports betting content, guess what? You don't have to go far. You can click that video on your screen right now. Don't go anywhere and keep cashing those tickets.